Hello and welcome to Deadrop. This is the Midnight Society Dr. Disrespect game. This is the second playable build of it they've made available. They said they were doing this snapshot thing where all of the founders would get access to a build every 6 weeks. They did the first one where you could kind of walk around a firing range and like your hideout and you could use one weapon. This is now the second one. It wasn't quite 6 weeks, they took a bit longer, but everyone kind of expected that to happen. Like, it seemed unlikely that you were going to be getting this every 6 weeks. Like, that's pretty ambitious. But we'll see what's in it. I don't really know what's in this build. I saw they posted a little bit about it, but we'll take a look and you'll get my first reactions to it. I literally just downloaded this, so haven't played it at all. It is loud. You can see at the top right we're getting like very fluctuating frame rate, sort of bouncing between 160 and 50. Okay. In some kind of elevator. I can't remember if this is how the previous one started. I think it is. Right. It doesn't... I feel like it looks a bit worse than it did before. Should we just see what the settings are like? Because I know that's something people will care about. We'll put it in full screen mode, see if that makes any difference. Vertical sync turned off. Quality, we can leave it on high for now. I'll put the field of view up to 100 just to make it a bit more like the other games that I play. We'll see how this looks. There we go. Looks okay. That's getting a frame rate. I mean, it's bouncing around a little bit, but again, this is very, very early. We'll see how it goes. So before we had the assault rifle on the wall there. God, that buzzing's annoying. As someone with tinnitus, that buzzing is super annoying. It's like extra buzzing on top of the buzzing I already hear all the time. Right, let's pick that up. There's a pistol there. It looks unmodeled completely, but I'm guessing it'll look modeled when it's in the hand. There we go. So, it's not a very nice looking model. When they did the assault rifle before, it looked really good. This doesn't really. And then there's a keypad, but you can't access it. It just says denied. So should we go through to the area where we could go through before and see if it looks any different? So this is the first kind of firing range. Having quite a lot of frame drops. It feels like this is running worse than the last one. But okay. And then interact. This is just like a shooting range, but you can try the pistol out, I guess. Oh, it's on toggle. There we go. Ooh. That doesn't feel good. It's hard to describe why, but it's like... It's like the sounds are slightly off, like the sounds don't quite sync up with the exact timing you'd expect. And the model of the gun is very off-putting. But again, you know, this is all very early. The whole point of this is it's like super early access. Oh, is that it? So I got my 7,200 points. And then these things, you can see them before, you can like shoot little pieces off them and stuff. They kind of collapse. I can't remember if this was the way we went before or that way. But we can go there. It's got a nice little rain effect. That's lovely. Oh, it chugged down to 8 frames per second for a second there. I will, when we're like in the main area, I'll have a look at the different graphic settings just to show you what it looks like if you put everything up to full. Okay. So before here, there was a couple of shooting ranges up here. I think there's one on the left up here. And then there's a pink door there. Don't know what that means. It's a helicopter there. I don't know why there was a reflection up there from my muzzle flash. Was that muzzle flash? No, maybe not. Oh, and then there's a little bit of crumbling going on. If anyone saw my tweet where I'm saying like, oh, is this gonna look better than Call of Duty? That's just, you know, there was a thing where Dr. Disrespect said that he could take a screenshot of this game right now and it would look better than anything that they'd said about Modern Warfare 2. Don't think that this really holds up to that, but you know, we'll see. Let's interact. This is a new area, I think. This is the new bit. It's pink and untextured, I think. So this is the garage. This is one of the new areas. This is very like, you know, making a level in Unreal Engine and not texturing anything. This whole thing seems a lot more like early than the first snapshot. The first snapshot, it feels like they tried to show off that was a bit more something that was a bit more polished. This is, I mean, I'm guessing this is a model of a car, I guess. It's it doesn't look great. I don't think there's any way around it. Like, you know, looking at the things like the tire textures, I'm trying to think of something that's like nice about it. It's like, I guess I was about to say like, oh well, I guess there's like that reflection is quite cool, but then it's like, why is it an oval? I don't quite okay. It looks a little bit like a sort of, I mean, the headlights are like Lego car headlights, don't they? I've been trying really hard with this. Like with my first video, if you want to go back and watch my video of the first snapshot, I did one when that came out. I really wanted to be like quite neutral about it and try and be a bit more objective about it and just show what it was and not pass opinion too much. And to be honest with the first one, it looked better than I expected it to, because they've been going on about how incredibly early it is. But this is kind of disappointing. I just don't really get what they're showing here. Like, this pistol looks super ugly, and there's like no animations when you're like, when you're walking. Oh no, it does have a little bit of twitch. Okay, I think they said there's meant to be more guns in this. But this, it's not, it just doesn't feel right. It's really hard to describe exactly what feels wrong with this. Why is it illuminating over there? I don't really understand. It's just like there's something I think slightly off with the sound. Like, it doesn't sound... The sound doesn't come at quite the right time, and obviously like no bits of the gun are moving. I've probably been spoiled by playing the Modern Warfare 2 beta all day. I was literally streaming it for like 6 hours earlier, and I've got all of these, you know, gorgeous weapon animation stuff. And again, that's a game that's coming out in a month. This is a game that's probably not coming out for like 3 years or something. But yeah, I think we can put to bed any of those things about like, oh, this game looks better than Call of Duty. It definitely doesn't. This is all the area that was available before. Like, you could run around here. There's actually like a firing range thing here that I could do. Should we have a look at the different graphic settings quickly and just see what is going on with that? I know something is meant to happen in this when you've been playing it for a while. It said that on the website, the guide thing. But if there's anything that people in chat want me to have a look at, because I'm live streaming all of this, if people want me in chat want me to have a look at anything, please let me know. Hey, Tactical Brit, thank you for stopping by. So yeah, anyone wondering what this, like how I get to play this, basically they made it so any founders could get access to these early snapshots. Now, to be a founder, they wanted you to buy a $50 NFT. Now, I'm having absolutely nothing to do with NFTs, but because I was one of the people that helped solve the ARG at the beginning, which was a very basic ARG, there was like a little sort of game in Discord basically that you could do. Because I was one of the first people to do that, they gave like a bunch of us free access to this, like 500 of us free access to this. So that's why I've got access to this. I haven't paid any money for it or anything, but they also haven't like tried to, this isn't like sponsored or anything like that. So there's a menu. I can go to stash. Also there's a, I think that's meant to be a model, but I think that's just a PNG. It just looks like aside from the quality side, you know, obviously renders and stuff aren't done and lighting's not done and this isn't animated, it doesn't even look like a necessarily a 3D model here, it looks like a PNG. It just doesn't look very good, does it? Like, the style of it doesn't look very good. Like, what's going on here? Why is his jeans leg ripped off at the shins? And then it's got like... Okay, it just looks odd. So I have a stash, I have an inventory. You can't actually move any of this. Again, this looks a little bit like a PNG. And then none of this opens up. Apparently, they've put a store tab in there, but none of this, you can't click on any of this. Like, none of this actually does anything. At all. Oh, wait a minute. There's multiplayer. Maybe there's something going on. It says I'm finding match. Player limit 18 proving ground. So maybe there's multiplayer going on. Let's have a look. Now remember, there won't be that many people that have this yet. I mean, they did, I think, give out 10,000 of these passes to people that bought them, or 500 people that got them free. But I'm guessing there'll be a lot of people trying to get it now, so we'll see how the matchmaking works. If the matchmaking works. I might check the Discord while we're loading just to see if, like, this is a thing that people have managed to get working. Because I'm not 100% sure. I didn't know there was multiplayer in this, to be honest. I heard people talking about it. Oh, I heard a noise. We've got a match found. Here we go. Right. We are in a match. It says 16, 15 players remaining. Oh, okay, so this is completely untextured. This is a level. There's boxes. I can hold a button to open. There's nothing in it. Okay. I can hear a player over there. Oh, this box I've got a hand grip. I can't do anything with that. Okay. I mean, again, this is meant to be, you know, super early access. They're doing that. It's very, very early access. Is this an elevator that works? Yep, I can go up in an incredibly fast elevator. I feel like that would be kind of jarring, going up that fast. So you can see the big environments here. That's, oh my god. I got killed. I've lost all my items. Okay. Well, that was a thing. That happened. That was a game of sorts. And I've lost all my items. Should we give another go for that? When if I go to that and then play again, will it keep... Yeah, it's still searching while I'm wandering around, so that's cool. So I can keep on exploring. I seem to have lost my pistol. So I'm guessing the idea is that that area will eventually look like this area. I'm guessing that's what they're going for. Hopefully not with the, like, literally pitch black corners. Because that, I don't think will bode well for a game having shadows quite that deep. Right. I don't think that was AI crawl. Sorry, who was saying that? Bods. I think that was real players. So I think this is multiplayer. I'm trying to find the pistol again. Oh. There's lots of different noises. Let me grab this. I don't know if there's more weapons in this, because you used to be able to use an assault rifle in this bit. I don't know if there's more weapons. The running animation's very funny. It's sort of like prop like. There we go. Match starts in 5, 4, 3, 2. Let's get in this again. See if I can actually kill someone. Maybe if I was better at aiming. I mean, Tony Richardson. I think the. Oh, we're in a game. I think that would have been better if I was... Right, so there's just... It just seems like... What is this, like Dr. Disrespect jokes? Is that what I'm looting? Just to show what looting looks like. I want to find a gun. At the moment, it looks like it's mostly just you're looting Dr. Disrespect jokes. Oh. There's a healing station. Okay. I mean, this is like very much like if you load up Unreal Engine and do the template for a first-person shooter. I would say this is worse than that, but it's got multiplayer. Like, I don't think those things have multiplayer by default, so they have done, obviously, wherever you have to do something in default. Can you not find any other guns? Just 6 hand grips. Oh, here we go. Got a shotgun. I have a shotgun. With 6 shots. So the gun's just on the ground and these boxes are just doc memorabilia. I'm guessing. Okay, that's not something you can interact with. Like... I'm just not really sure what the purpose of this is. It's worth noting that, like, they said, like, the whole thing about this was all the founders are going to be, like, making the game alongside the studio and get involved straight away. Which I was a little bit worried about from the beginning, because it sounded a little bit like they want people to work for them for free. Which obviously isn't great. You know, things like game testers and stuff, like, that's a paid position. But... between the first snapshot and this one, as far as I can tell, like, I try and keep up with the Discord. I try and read what's going on there, even if I don't post on there. All I really saw... Someone here? I can hear some footsteps. So that's good for Doc. I can hear footsteps. No idea where they are. I can't seem to actually choose a different weapon. Oh, there we go. I can use this. But I can only choose shotgun, or I can't actually choose that rifle. Okay. I can't decide where they are. So yeah, between the first snapshot and this snapshot, as far as I can tell, all they did was they had a feedback page you could fill in, and then they didn't really communicate with anybody about anything between then and now. Like, they didn't say like, hey, what do you think we should do about this, or what do you think we should improve this, or anything. Which, again, don't get me wrong, I think that's a good thing. I think asking a load of random people who have paid into your game to help with game design is a disaster waiting to happen. Like, I mean, I can hear footsteps, but I've got no idea where that person is. Somewhere above me, I think. But yeah, I don't think there's been any of that interaction, really. I don't think there's been really anything where developers have been talking to community members or asking them about the direction of it. It's been very much like, hey, surprise, here's the next snapshot, this is what you're getting. Okay, that sounded like that was below me. Maybe it was above me? Okay, I killed him. That shotgun seems bizarre. So there's a rifle. So can I now use the rifle? No. I can't. Okay. Because I picked up the shotgun first, it seems I can now not use the rifle. I can just keep on collecting the same nonsense. So I'm just going to keep on going up, because, like, surely that's kind of what you do in a situation like this. You just keep on going up. Like, lots of people have been saying, you know, I just saw Tactical Brit saying in chat about, like, I don't know any development studio that would do this. And it's not because, like, oh, they're evil corporations and they don't care about their gamers. It's because it's kind of insane to do this. Is that a player? Because... Yep. Oh, cool. He's just glitching through that cover. That's a good way of doing cover. Did he just die? Because... Yeah. Because... Is that shotgun B? Is that a different shotgun? Because, like, this is what people's first impression of the game is going to be. Like, this is why those sort of, you know, leaks and stuff that have happened lately have been so terrible. Because people don't want the first impression everyone has of the game, when, you know, hype's probably at its highest near the beginning, to be this. So when people Google, hey, what does Dr. Disrespect's game look like? What does Deadrop look like? What does Midnight Society's game look like? They'll get videos of this, and they'll be like, oh... It doesn't, it looks kind of, you know, like those trashy things that you get on Steam. Which is a shame. Right, is there someone in here? Okay, he's dead. I don't know if I've got any health or anything. Oh yeah, I do. 76 out of 100. And I'm dead. I think that's enough of that. Like, that's fine. Oh, full damage if you jump. I guess I could check that. I guess I could search for one more. Drag the rifle from my inventory to my weapon slot. I didn't think I could drag anything, but I can try again. I'll try again. I mean, I can put the options onto maximum if people want to see what that looks like. If I save this... There we go. Now it's running at 30 frames a second. I've got, for reference, I've got a 3080... And my CPU is Ryzen... Oh god, I don't actually know what my CPU is. It's like a 5950 or something like that. It's a 5000 series something with an X at the end. But it's an alright one. 5700X maybe? Don't know, it's an okay one. You know, I can be getting 140 frames on Warzone and stuff like that. This is chugging. I'm putting this back onto high. Maybe you need a 4090 to get the best out of this game. You know, you need one of these new £2,000 graphics cards. Is there anything else people want me to check? Oh, I'm going in. So people want me to try full damage, people want me to... I'll try dragging weapons. I've started in the same place they did last time, so... Is there random loot, or will there just be a shotgun in the middle again? Let's find out. There's a pistol. Got a pistol. Let's see if I can find a shotgun or something. There's no point looking at any of the boxes. They don't seem to have weapons in them. That's also a pistol. There's pistol A and pistol B. As far as I can tell, they're the same thing. Are there any other weapons? He seems to have a better gun than me. Yeah, I'm dead. Well, balancing obviously isn't a problem. Is the audio good? No. It is not. Like, there doesn't seem to be any kind of, what do you call it? Like, is it occlusion where, like, walls and ceilings and stuff block the thing? It's just literally you can hear where someone is through everything, but, like, there's no sense of, like, you know, being in a stairwell or on a ramp or someone being on a different floor to you. They sound exactly the same if they're right in front of you or if they're, like, in a different floor to you entirely. Yeah, there's a bit of music if you go back to the beginning. There's a little bit of music. When I can try and show you. It's weird that you can't try out the guns here. Like, obviously, a lot of this stuff will get better. Like, clearly, you know, like, the weapon models will be fixed and they'll put textures in it and they'll do all of that sort of stuff, you know, that you expect from a game. See, there's a bit of soundtrack there. But there's not really anything to go on in this. Like, I'm not playing this being like, oh, I see where they're going, what this is going to be like. Like, I mean, if that multiplayer thing is what it's going to be like, it seems to be stuck. It says match start 0. There we go. Oh, it's just crashed and gone back to the main menu. Okay. If that's what the game's going to be like, then it doesn't show anything good. It doesn't show any kind of interesting features. Like, the map doesn't seem interesting. It seems like, to be honest, it feels a bit like, and this is a very niche reference I'm not entirely sure many people will be able to relate to. I used to play a lot of Jedi Academy online and Jedi Outcast. Like, was it Jedi Knight 3 and then the one after it? I used to play a lot of them online. And there were lots of fan-made levels in that. Where, like, you know, it'd be like, oh, you're running around Bespin, or you're running around, you know, Naboo Palace, or whatever. Like, people would make levels. Oh, this pistol just feels horrible for some reason. People would make these fan levels, and they'd have loads of, like, pointless little rooms and really basic geometry and stuff, and it's just like, it feels like that kind of layout. Where it's just like little rooms that serve no purpose. Okay, so I'm on the roof here. The skybox is super odd and blurry. Like, the sky, it seems like, you know, like you can kind of see clouds over there and there, but then why is that so blurry? I don't know. Well, someone's having fun over there. How fast can you fire this if you just tap it? Oh, you just fire, it just fires as fast as you can tap it. Right, if I do 2 fingers on it, can I, like... Oh no, maybe, I don't know, maybe it does have a limit. Maybe it does have a limit. Should I see if there's full damage? Yes, there is full damage. Can confirm there is full damage. So let's play again. I want to try the thing of weapon swapping to see if I can use that rifle, because I did see there was a rifle. They said, I think, on the Snapshot guide, I thought they said there was like 12 weapons. Am I missing something? Am I missing some big chunk of this game? See if I can find any info. Snapshot info. Here we go. Patch notes. Let me read to you what this is meant to have. I'll try and put this in a slightly more visually appealing way. So, it says, there's a player hideout, you can go into the garage, where in the future you'll be able to use collected parts to customize your sweet rides. Yes, plural. Then there's the Proving Ground, which shows off the indoor and outdoor PvP, and you'll get a feel for the core gameplay that will be central to Deadrop. That's a bit worrying. And it says you're there for one purpose, to loot and survive within the time limit. There's now 12 different types of weapons accessible, 4 variants each of pistols, shotguns and rifles. Nothing's crashed again. So when you see that and it says pistol A and B, I'm guessing there's a pistol C and D. And it says these variations include unique rates of fire, recoils, bullet drop, and spreads. Not sure why they pluralized everything except for bullet drop there. Anyway, there's player HUD. Your HUD displays health status, weapon status, extraction information, POI information, etc. There's health stations. This snapshot introduces a handful of fun items to collect, including weapons, floppy disks, obelisks, and some interesting looking comics. Collect items by examining containers and the death packs of fallen enemies. Extraction. After a certain amount of time in the current gameplay session, your HUD will display your specific extraction points. Get to one of these designated extraction points to return to your hideout with all your loot. Okay. Should we see if we can extract? I mean, if I die, there's actual... Oh god, there's a guy there and I don't have a gun. There's a guy there and I don't have a gun. I'd like to find a gun, ideally. I'll just keep going up, shall I? There's 17 people in this lobby. This is one of the busier ones I've been on. And interact. I just... Hey! That guy's shooting at me. Oh, here we go. It's a rifle. No, it's a shotgun. So now I've got one of the shotguns. This looks a bit different from the other shotgun, I think. This is more of an auto shotgun, I'm guessing. It's got that, like, barrel thing going on. There's, like... It's like, part of me thinks, oh, it'd be cool to explore the map. But I don't know if there's much point exploring the map, because you can see what it looks like. Like, can I get up to the top of here, maybe? It's just like, even the shapes don't fit together properly. They're just floating on top of each other. Oh, right, and then there's a pistol. So now I can switch between the pistol and... Okay, so that guy's there. He's hit me once, apparently. Someone hit me at some point. Then there's another pistol. I can't access my inventory. Oh, there we go. I can access my inventory there. Pistol B. Yeah, so I can't drag anything. You can't move anything. None of this is interactable. So once you've picked up 2 weapons, you then can't use any other weapons. So now I've got this and the pistol, and that's it. I can't do anything else. You have to press I to do that, annoyingly, not tab. That's a pain. Right. I don't know how long I have to be here before it'll tell me about my unique extraction point. So I can, so like here, I can hear someone below me. Okay. I'm not sure if this was the best place to go, but I'm here now. Like, the sound... And I'm dead. I've lost all my items. I want to use the rifle, really. So, Chimmy, you saw in another stream someone do move from guns they already had. How would they do that? How did they do that? Do you know? Because it seems like you can't drag anything. If there's other stuff that people want me to check out here, please do say. I'll keep on hopping into these games because I want to try the rifle to see what that's like. It's just difficult because I can see that, yeah, there's people in chat saying this looks bad, this looks trash, and it's like, I want to be fair to it, that this is, you know, this horrendously early thing, you know, this is the second snapshot they've built, they're letting people get in at the ground floor, but like, why? Like, what? Is that a rifle? That's a rifle, I think. There we go. What happened to the gun from the first snapshot? They had a gun in that first snapshot. That's just gone, apparently. But, like, why have they put this in? Like, what are they hoping for? What's going to be the useful feedback from this? Like, the guns look awful because obviously they're not modeled properly and they're not textured or anything. The gun effects are absolutely terrible. It doesn't even seem like the bullets just come out of the right gun. Everything about it looks and sounds bad. The audio, like the footsteps, is really bad because it's not in any way being like occluded by anything. It's just you can hear where other players are, like regardless of what exactly like what they're in. The map obviously looks super basic and bad. And it's like the geometry of the map. I feel like none of this is like... None of this seems set up to be like a fun area to fight in. It just seems like someone's just gone around and made like random shapes almost. So someone's just done a lift below me, I think. Like you can tell whether sound is above or below you. Like this area. Is this a fun area to fight in? Like, I don't know. Maybe. Maybe I'm being unfair in some way. I'm trying really hard to be as fair as I can. Because there's nothing constructive to say about like, oh, this looks awful. Like, that's not constructive or helpful to anyone. And of course it looks awful, because they can always just say, well, of course it's awful because it's super early on. But then why? What's the point of this? God, it's so dark. Is he, did he die? Is he still alive? I just don't understand it. I think that's my problem. Like, I don't really get what the point of any of this is. You know? And it's like, they're obviously not wanting you to be like, oh yeah, the lighting's really good or bad. Because like, obviously the lighting's bad. It's just like there's bright illuminated areas or it's pitch black in here for some reason. Like, I could just camp in here, I think, and I don't think anyone will notice that I was here. So let's just read some of the chat. This is what every game looks like at first. Doc is likely to attract funding. But how would this help you attract funding? Like, I've seen vertical slices of games that people have made and prototype things. And normally what they do when they're trying to attract funding is they're showing, like, what the unique selling point of their game is. They create something that's very small and focused that shows you like this is what's going to be different about this game. And I'm not really getting that from this. Like, what's different about this? This is a multiplayer first-person shooter. Like, what's the unique feature or the thing that's going to make this feel different to everything else? Like, what's this got that something like, you know, Marauders doesn't or Tarkov doesn't or whatever else? I just don't really understand the sort of mindset of all of that sort of thing. This is early stage development though, right? Yeah, definitely, like super early, unbelievably early. Pre-alpha, so I reckon this is to get data on character movement and PvP network testing. PvP network testing, like fair enough, like they could be getting information about that, although it's quite a small group of players because I've got less than 10,000 potential players and it doesn't seem like all of those 10,000 people are downloading the thing. Instead, you know, it's not like they selected people because of where they were as such, it was more like who's willing to pay $50 for it. And yeah, like character movement, I mean, it's just basic first-person movement until the map is done. Until, not done, but like until the map is like more of like an actual map rather than just a load of basic geometry. I don't know what you can tell about the movement, because it's hard to say like, oh, whether the speed you run is fine when there's like all of these massive open areas that, you know, I'm guessing won't exist in the real game. And the ramps and stuff I'm guessing won't exist, like they won't look like that. And there's no like mantling or climbing or anything like that. Can you slide? No. So yeah, there's nothing like that. There's no kind of advanced movement thing. It's just basic, like you can run around, you can sprint, you can walk, and you can jump, and you can crouch. Which, like I said, is all kind of the basic stuff that you get with the Unreal template when you do multiplayer. Broken Machine said he just played 5 minutes super early, definitely needs its own flavor. Cool idea, Not feeling anything grabbing me yet. Yeah, I mean, the bit that I'm missing out on is the cool idea part as of yet. I don't really understand the cool idea in this yet. Like, that's the thing that it's not selling me on, is like, what's going to be like unique about this, other than the fact that Dot Disrespect is getting involved. And apparently with the things that you can loot, it's going to be like, hey, look at this. This is a thing that you remember Dr. Disrespect joking about on his stream. You know, you can like open the boxes and be like, hey, look, it's a floppy disk because Dr. Disrespect is an 80s character. Like, okay. I don't know if I want to play like Dr. Disrespect the fan game. Robert WW said, it's a snapshot of the game. I don't see you designing your own game from the ground up. LMAO, you're criticizing something, they're giving you early access to give them feedback. Quit bitching. I mean, there's a weird thing, there's a weird sort of contradiction in what you're just saying there of like, you're saying that this is so I can give them feedback, but I shouldn't moan about it. So it's like, well, I should only give them positive feedback. So they made something that kind of works. I mean, it's crashed a few times, and like obviously the frame rate's super janky for what this is. For, you know, look at it. What am I meant to be giving them feedback on here? Like, what would be useful topics of feedback? Like, the weapons, or like, none of these weapons are anything like what you would expect a weapon to be like in a first-person shooter. No one's gonna launch a first-person shooter with a rifle. Like, I guess I could look at the recoil and be like, yeah, that recoil goes up. That is true. That recoil does go up. Like, it's at this super early stage where I feel like most game studios would be like, the people making it can give the feedback on this. The people making it can look at this and be like, okay, we get what we need to work on. Because at this point, it's everything, isn't it? Like, at this point, there's nothing there. I'm not entirely sure that me criticizing this means that I have to immediately go out and make my own game. I'm not quite sure that's how this works. Apparently there's 4 players remaining. I don't know where they are. Oh, extraction begins in 30 seconds, so we can see what extraction looks like. So at least we've seen the things, you know, we've seen all of the guns, or not all the variants, because they most are the same. But we've seen all the different types of guns. And we've killed a player, we've been killed. What? We've seen the different bits of the map. What do we do now? So let's see, we've got 12 seconds until the extraction begins. We are on the filtration center, floor 4. So that works, the bit that tells you where you are. Cool. So it says here, my extraction points are those 2. Comms relay, floor 2, east and north. So I can go downstairs. That makes sense. See, I suppose that's something I can give feedback on. That's cool that it tells you what floor you're on, so then it's very easy to work out which floor you're meant to go to. Except it isn't, because this says floor 2. Okay, so it's a different building. So I've got to go to the other building. But I don't know how to get to that building. How do I get to the other buildings? Like, what? Can I go out? Like, can I go out onto the balcony here? Okay, so I need to get over there somehow. I can just jump down here. Whoop. Okay. Whoa, oh, I'm getting shot. I don't know where from. The snow. Okay, I'm dead. So, there is an extraction thing. I didn't get to it because I got shot. I had no idea. I could sort of hear roughly the direction those shots were coming from, but I couldn't see any kind of visual thing of saying that's where I was getting shot from. Got no idea. Broken Machine saying, strategically released in the middle of Modern Warfare 2 beta to keep the convo about this game ongoing. Yeah, I mean, I'm not sure it's a good conversation because like, obviously they haven't said much about this game. They haven't said much about like what's different about it, what's like going to be good about it. You've just got that quote of Dr. Disrespect saying, oh, it looks better than anything that Modern Warfare 2 had showed off, and it's like no, that's clearly not true. That was just, you know, him being him like hyping stuff up unnecessarily. Like, I don't know if I'd want to draw attention to the game at this point until you had something a bit more substantial. Because it draws about very unfavorable comparisons. It's a very basic HUD layout, but Disrespect will probably add more HUDs before final release. More HUDs, more heads-up displays. I mean, again, I think it's worth mentioning, like, as far as I know, Dr. Disrespect isn't the developer on this game. Dr. Disrespect is a full-time content creator. I know he has been a game designer. He worked for Sledgehammer before, and he was a community manager, and then did some level design stuff. I don't think he's making this game. He's like the public face of this company. I don't believe that he's going to be, you know, personally doing stuff like putting a HUD in. Obviously this isn't going to be the finished HUD. I mean, look at it, there's like nothing to it. It's just there's not a lot to show, is there? There's not a lot to see or do. If there's anything anyone in chat wants me to try out, then please, by all means, do say. It's just, if anything, this snapshot feels a lot less impressive than the first one. So the first one, at least you had, you know, that cool gun model for the assault rifle. Oh, well. Especially he was not invited to the COD Next event. I mean, it's obvious why he wasn't invited to that COD Next event, isn't it? Like, this is a person who is making a game that he sees as a competitor to Warzone. He's been saying that his game looks much better than the new Call of Duty. If they invited him to COD Next, what's he going to say about the new Call of Duty? He's going to say, oh, it's trash, it doesn't look anywhere near as good as my game. Like, obviously. Like, what? You've seen what sort of person he is and how he talks about the games already. He's very, very clearly going to play the new Call of Duty and say, this is nothing like my game. This is all of the things wrong that I don't like Call of Duty. My game's going to be much better. Like, why would they invite him to that? I don't see, like, who would ever think that would be a good idea? Yeah, that seems like a terrible idea. Do you think releasing every 6 weeks is too frequent? Yeah, it's insane. Like, I don't understand, like, the people are going to play this and be like, oh, this was like an unenjoyable experience. Like, this is boring and looks bad. Like, maybe in 6 weeks it'll look less bad, and like, it probably will look a bit less bad, and then they'll keep on doing that for 6 weeks. But like I said, in between the last snapshot and the first snapshot, the whole way they sort of marketed this at the beginning, or not marketed it, but talked about it, was that they were going to do these snapshots, and in between the snapshots there was going to be like voting on different features, and there was going to be a lot of back and forth between the developers and the community about what they liked and what they didn't like. But as far as I can tell, none of that happened. Like, instead what kind of happened was they did a there's a form you fill in on the website after you play the snapshot. You can fill in a form, and that form, as far as I can tell in the last one, it wasn't detailed. It was literally just like, what did you think of it? And then a box where you can just fill in what you think of it. And then I think they did an Ask Me Anything on Discord as well. I think they did like one event, you know, where people could ask questions and then they could respond to that. And that was it, I think, in the 6 weeks. There wasn't much of a idea that the people in this founders group were shaping the next one. And I think it's been marketed in a very, very odd way. Like, I've seen some of the people, like one of the community managers from, I guess from Midnight Society, talking about it as in, well, no developer's ever done anything like this. No studio has ever involved a community, involved the fans in the making of the game. And it's like, that's just like blatantly not true. Like, Steam Early Access has been a thing for forever. You know, obviously Notch was doing that with Minecraft, where he released it in alpha when it was super basic, and then was talking to the community constantly while it was being made. I mean, the difference is that these companies didn't ask people to buy a $50 NFT to be a part of that community. You know, you can't get access to some of the Discord and these playable snapshots and stuff like that unless you've been a part of that, or you got the free one from doing the ARG. But yeah, it seems like they're talking as if this is a completely new thing, but it's not. It's something that lots and lots of indie games have done for a very long time. You know, over the last few months, I've been really enjoying Vampire Survivors, where Vampire Survivors, that's like basically one guy making that game. And he was selling it for like £2 at the time when it was all sort of like going through all its early stages. And he was super active on his Discord. The Discord was open to everyone. You didn't have to buy the game to be a part of the Discord. They were updating it every 2 weeks. They were constantly putting out updates on Steam with new achievements, new levels, new weapons, lots and lots of feedback, lots of bug fixes and stuff like that. And like that, you know, no one was saying like, oh, this is a shocking new thing. It's just like, yeah, that's a kind of normal thing that indie games do. The big difference really is that Midnight Society are saying that they're a AAA studio. So they're saying, hey, we're the first AAA studio to be making a game doing that. And AAA studios, you know, big budgets, big teams and stuff like that. I don't think there's been any indication that they are a AAA studio, that they do have that kind of crazy budget and that kind of crazy huge team. As far as I know, they don't have offices. They have, like, they're all working remotely at the moment. So I don't know quite why they're going for that, other than trying to make out that it's much bigger than it really is. You know, which I suppose I can understand why they would want to do that, why they would want to give that impression. But yeah, I don't think they're doing anything like new by letting people see the game super early. It's like, even with AAA studios, you look at games like, you know, Grounded by Obsidian. Like, that's something where they let people play that super early. Not this early, to be fair. They had something that was like playable and fun to begin with before they started letting people play it. But you could play it super, super early. And Epic actually did it with Unreal Tournament. So Epic had a version of Unreal Tournament that was being run and people from the community could chip in. I think they actually even had a thing where people could give bits of code and stuff like that. Like, people could really help out with models and things like that. And they were working on that for quite a while, and that was from the very beginning. So the very beginning of the Unreal project, people could download the build completely for free. You could just download it from the Epic's Games launcher. And you like, could I go out a shotgun? Can't access his bag though. Oh, there we go. So shotgun C. There we go. So then I can put that in there. So can I? Oh, so I can right click on it and then do it like that. That's how you swap the weapons. So you can swap the weapons out. Yeah, and then they ran that Unreal Tournament thing for a while, and it was like literally. Why is the hand not even holding that? Oh, this is a double shotgun. That's bad. Like, is this what the game's gonna be like? Is that... Do you think that's what the game's gonna be like? I've got an obelisk. They've got like a burst pistol, so this is pistol D. So that is a different model again. Okay, now we're getting third parties. I'm dead. Cool. Yeah, and with the Unreal Tournament thing, it ended up going nowhere. Like, they ended up cancelling it, I think, because of Fortnite and stuff like that. They wanted to move people over to Fortnite, and the whole thing just ended, and they never got anywhere with a game. There was something playable. It was fun. It ended up looking quite good quite early on. But then, you know, Fortnite drew resources away from it, so they just cancelled it quietly. But that was fine, because no one has paid any money for it or anything like that. It was just a bit disappointing. But yeah, my point being, sorry, going back to my very, very slow, rambly point, was that it's definitely been done before. The idea of having a AAA game studio releasing a game in its earliest state for people to test and give feedback has definitely been done before, and so far it doesn't seem like they've got that level of community involvement that Epic did with Unreal, or you know, or like Vampire Survivors or Minecraft or Terraria or any of those like smaller indie games managed to do. Which makes me think a little bit, you know, it's a little bit of marketing speak. Oh, can you not jump on there? That's weird. Oh, you can. There we go. See if we can jump out of bounds or something like that. But yeah, so for people asking, you know, at least this isn't the sort of thing, you can't buy this at the moment. I'm kind of surprised. I thought they were going to be selling NFTs like every other week. They'd be like doing a new founders package, a new way to play it. If they did ever release a way to play this, I definitely wouldn't suggest it. Like this, as soon as I stop this stream, I'm just going to delete this. Like, I'm never going to play the Snapshot again. What's the point? It's pretty bad. But like, again, it's one of those things, like they've got the cast iron defense of, well, of course it's pretty bad, it's pre-alpha. Like, what do you expect? It's so early. But then it's like, but then what do you want from us? Are people going to come out of this and say, like, this is awesome, this is such a cool thing? Like, because it's just not. Like, there's nothing cool about this so far. There's kind of, I could see some people kind of liking this aesthetic of, like, this area where there's, you know, some textures and the rain effect and stuff. And if you do like this aesthetic, I strongly suggest you go and pick yourself up an Xbox 360, because there was a lot of games on the Xbox 360 that had this kind of aesthetic, you know, lots of browns and greys, miserable, bleary, dystopian, first-person shooters, and obviously a lot of third-person shooters as well. This was a very popular look back then. In general, games moved on, but obviously this is kind of going a bit back towards that kind of thing. Can't go out to that lovely crane. So, anyone got any other questions about it? Can you guys hear that when bullet drops to ground sounds like Max Payne? The sounds for the guns are just super odd and weird. I think it is a timing thing. Like, they just don't seem to... It's like the sound either comes slightly too early or too late. I can't work out what it is, but it feels very disconnected. And it means that, you know, when you fire a gun, even using mouse and keyboard, when you fire a gun in some games, it's super satisfying. You know, like a lot of the Battlefield games, not 2042, but like Battlefield 5 and Battlefield 1 and Battlefield 3 and 4, there's a really satisfying, like, just combination of sound and visuals when you fire a gun. And I think Call of Duty has it, not in the same way that Battlefield necessarily did, but you know, and even games like Arma and stuff like that have done it really well. Whatever they're doing, this isn't. Like, this has got something fundamentally wrong in that regard. I wish I knew enough about game development to know what that was that they're doing wrong, but there's something that's just painful from there. Also, if the final thing's going to be a long-term way, it's going to be hard to keep interest in it for that long. I mean, to be honest, I haven't seen much interest in this in the first place. Like, you know, it's not like this Snapshot was coming out today. People knew it was coming out today. I haven't seen a lot of, like, coverage of it over gaming sites or anything like that. I mean, it's awesome that there's a bunch of you here, but I haven't seen, like, lots of people getting excited and hyped about this. You think the level design's really interesting? You're excited to see how things progress? I mean, I guess it feels a bit like just cluttered random geometry to me at the moment, rather than like level design. Like, I'm not like looking at this and being sort of like, oh, okay, I kind of get what this kind of area would be used for, or I get what this area is meant to represent or something. I guess because it's meant to be like this sort of dystopian tower thing. It's kind of hard to relate to what this area is. I'm in that area where everyone spawns. Oh, I got a shotgun. See, I can hear someone. I've got no idea if they're above me or below me or next to me. I think above me, maybe. But yeah, it's like this, you know, what's this? It's just a big ramp, innit? And then, is that meant to be like a building site, do you think? This says it's the shipping hub. Like there, all of those pellets went in completely different directions. Like, can you see the bullets are coming out from the right of my gun? Like, I don't know what I meant to tell from that fight. That, like, I'm using a drum shotgun. If I use it from a long way away, I'm doing lots of 2 bits of damage, but the bullets seem to be coming out of where I was just standing rather than where I actually am. And then when I got closer, I went up to 6 and 7 damage. But then he killed me with a pistol. Probably because, you know, my aim was bad, I guess, or something. I don't know. I don't know. Serious question, what makes a studio AAA? I don't know if there's like an official designation for what makes a studio AAA. I always thought it was just like a general sense of, you know, budget. So when you're talking about a AAA studio, you're starting to talk about budgets that are like going into, you know, $50, $100 million or more, rather than the sort of much smaller budgets that a lot of indie games go from. If that level ends up looking like this zone, it will look killer. Do you think? Like, it just looks like kind of dreary to me. I don't know, like this doesn't look great to me, I don't think. Like this area was in the first snapshot. Like, this looks a lot like, you know, areas from like It's like this is a really harsh comparison, and I'm sorry in advance. I know this will annoy people. This looks a bit like Half-Life 2, but without the art direction. Like Half-Life 2 has this similar kind of grimy, industrial, concrete, brutalist look. But everything in Half-Life 2 has been shaped to sort of show some sort of intent, or like someone's been living there, or there's a job being done there, or some sort of work. This is just a load of identical props, you know, like bow, 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 bollock, concrete post, concrete thing, concrete thing, concrete thing, that have just been sort of put down to shepherd you down play spaces, you know, like this is a big long corridor, there's a big long corridor over there, there's a corridor down there, there's a big thing down there. It just... It's like someone took the, like, Half-Life 2 aesthetic and slapped it on a Pac-Man maze and then tried to make it into 3D. It just doesn't seem very, like, there doesn't seem to be a lot of intention behind it. The skybox thing is kind of cool, but again, you know, you can see skyboxes that look like this in the original Deus Ex. I mean, probably not with the massive tower. I know the first Deus Ex was set in New York. It had like the World Trade Center in it and stuff like that. Very strange. But yeah, like it's not like a groundbreaking. Like, oh my god, this is such a cool look. I like the lightning in the distance. That's cool. It's like a Dr. Disrespect face over there as well. You can see it a bit better when you can zoom in with the rifle. It looks horrible to play like Unreal Tournament without the Unreal Engine. I mean, this is an Unreal Engine, and I think Unreal Engine is doing a lot of the heavy lifting here. Like, they've obviously got this sort of haze and rain effect on that covers up a lot of the sort of jank in this, the way this looks. And I think a lot, like, this is Unreal Engine 5, I think, like they said, and that's doing a lot of the lifting, and you've got the coloured lighting and the reflections and all of that sort of stuff. But again, it's just, it doesn't have that kind of art direction. Right, let me just see if there's anything else in chat before I end this stream. You really hope he can accept naysayers to his ideas to create this game. The open areas here for solo players seem not to be a good idea. If it was team-based, it might work. I mean, maybe, Marcus, it's something. I would say on the Discord, I wouldn't go to the Discord and criticize anything. Like, they've been very... I was very, very critical of the decision to involve NFTs, and they've started talking about, you know, owning items that you find in the game and stuff like that. Like, I've been very outspoken about how against NFTs being involved in gaming, or anything for that matter, I am. And yeah, the chat did not like that. There were some people that were really sort of, you know, shutting that down completely. And it got into this bit where, like, people were just, I was trying to explain my points, people were throwing personal insults around to me. I wasn't, I was being very polite. And then Robert Bowling, you know, 402, banned me for a while from the Discord because he was like, oh, well, you know, your ideas are causing a bit too much drama in here. And it's like, oh, okay, cool. Didn't, like, ban any of those people who would just immediately devolve to insults. Just banned the person who was saying stuff against NFTs. I get it. So, you know, and he sent me a DM afterwards in case people are like, oh, that wasn't actually what bowling. It's like, no, it was. I can show you the DMs if I want. You know, there's an interesting conversation there, I guess, to be had. Ryan Jones said you're a big fan 2 times. Maybe it's too much of his own idea for what's a good game. Yeah. Just trying to see if there's anything else interesting in here. I don't think there's anything super interesting. Oakfig said, I think they want people to see what a game goes through as it's being made. So many people have no idea, so this lets people understand how it works. I think that would be a good idea, and that would be a noble pursuit, Oakfig. I don't know if you're still in, sorry, I had to read back up a bit to get to your message. That would be a noble idea. If they said, hey, we're going to give you an insight into game development. Like, this is how a AAA game studio makes games. We're going to talk about it. We're going to be a lot more open about it. We're going to chat about it a lot and, you know, through the Ask Me Anythings, I guess. And then they're showing this. That would be cool. The problem with that is they keep on reinforcing this idea and they keep on saying, hey, like, we're making a game like no other. We're making a game that no one's ever seen anything like this before. So they're sort of saying we're developing game in a completely different way, as if this isn't how normal games are developed. And definitely, you know, normal games don't have to create a public playable build every 6 weeks, because that would be utterly insane. So I think that would be a good idea, but I just don't think they're necessarily doing this. Can I die in here? Yeah, definitely can. this is Unreal. I thought they're creating their own engine, so that's why it looks so rough. No, this is Unreal Engine 5, and you know, when you go into the game part of this, that's pretty much what it looks like. If you go on Unreal Engine and just load up, it's free to download. Anyone can download it. You load it up, it says templates, and there's a first-person template. That doesn't look a million miles away from what you're seeing there. But obviously it's not multiplayer. I don't know how much work they have to do to get the multiplayer working. I imagine that is not a simple task to get stuff like that working. I think the sound is delayed slightly. I think that's what's bothering me. It's like I'm clicking and then you're hearing the sound a little bit afterwards. I don't know. It feels weird. Feels like the recoil is almost entirely vertical for both of them, a rifle and a pistol at least, which seems like an odd choice to just have a completely vertical recoil pattern. Like that. I mean, that then you could just control it by being like, you could just keep on putting it down, and then that would be super easy. So strange. Organic vibes. So that's why my view on what they've released has felt biased. Noted. Yeah, I mean, definitely. There's definitely been some bad blood between me and Midnight Society developers. You know, Robert Bowling and Nikolai and the other people there. Like, I was very, very involved in this game when they just announced it was own Dr. Disrespect Studio. They were working on, like, this new type of Battle Royale type thing. That's how they were sort of saying it then. And they did an ARG. I didn't really have any interest in Dr. Disrespect before. I hadn't watched his streams before, but I sort of knew who he was. And so I was really invested in that because I love the idea. You know, I love Battle Royales. I was really excited for new on them. Then they did the ARG, and obviously that got me interested. That's why I joined the Discord. So I got involved in that. The ARG wasn't very good, but it was like, you know, it was something to do. It was sort of fun to do. And then, like, and up to that point, I had nothing bad to say about any of them. I found it a bit weird when you kept hearing sort of people saying like, oh, you know, this is this like all-star studio, and it's like, but Rob Bowling was mostly a, you know, community manager for a lot of the Call of Duty games he worked on, and then if you look in his LinkedIn profile, he seemed to be taking credit for the success of some of the Call of Duty games he worked on, which seems a little bit strange looking at what his actual jobs were. But anyway, he was like, he says takes credit, and so I found that a bit weird at first. Then when you looked at a lot of the other staff, I was like, oh, that's weird. Like, one of the other founders runs a crypto exchange, and I was like, that's a bit worrying. And then they brought out obviously the whole NFT thing where they were like, oh, the founders passes are going to be NFTs for people who want access to this game. They're going to buy $50 NFT. If you stuff items you have in the game, you will own as NFTs that can then be bought and sold and stuff. And that I was really worried about. And actually, just before the NFT thing, they asked me, Nikolai and Robert Bowling asked me to, because I'd made some videos about the ARG, they asked me to make a video like summing up the ARG for them. So they were like, hey, we're going to support you with this. We want you to make it for something that we can post on our socials. We're going to, you know, we'll help you. We'll make some graphics for you if you want. We could get like Doc to record something for you. We could get all stuff like that, and then you can make a video and you'll be able to post it on your YouTube channel, but then we'll post it on our socials as well. And like, in hindsight, I should have asked them for money for it, but I sort of just agreed to do it because I was like, oh, this is a cool opportunity to get involved in something. And then immediately, like, I made the thing that they wanted me to make, but I was like, okay, these are the graphics that I'd quite like, and they were like, oh yeah, we'll get on that. And then they never did. They never made anything. They sent me the font, and that was it. And some of the images that had been released for ARG. And I was a bit like, that's kind of sucky. And then I was like, oh, could you get like Disrespect to say something like this? You know, it's literally like a sentence. I was like, if you could get him to record a video of him saying like this one sentence, that would be awesome. So then I could put it in, because, you know, it adds a bit of authenticity. And they were like saying like, oh, well, you know, we'll speak to his agent and see if we can make that work. Speak to his manager and see if we can make that work. And I thought that was a bit strange, because I thought Dr. Disrespect was part of Midnight Society, like part of the studio. But they were always saying like, oh, well, you know, we'll speak to his manager and see if we can get something worked out. And like I said, I wanted a video of him saying one sentence. And they couldn't get that to work. So they couldn't manage to get hold of him to do that. And I was a bit like, oh, that's a bit weird. So then anyway, I made this video for them and they put it up, and then they, you know, kind of the way they embedded on their website was a little bit weird and stuff, and made it so people wouldn't sort of like actually watch the video. But anyway, so I was a bit annoyed about that whole situation. And then the whole NFT thing came out, and I was quite critical of the NFTs on the Discord. And then, well, like I said, Rob Bowling banned me from the Discord for like, not for long, for like a day or two. And Robert Bowling sent me some DMs where I expressed exactly what it was that I was worried about. And then he was saying on there that, like, I was like, oh, well, if this like whole NFT thing, the Founders Pass thing, is a fundraising thing, so you can fund development on the game, that kind of makes perfect sense. And like, why don't you just advertise that? You know, like Kickstarter, like no one's got a big problem with Kickstarter, or early access on Steam. Like, why don't you just do it like that? And then he was saying like, oh no, it's not about funding at all. Like, they were saying that the NFTs cost them more to mint and create than they're actually getting back from it. Because, you know, they're selling 50,000 of these things at $50 each. Or was it 100? No, 10,000 of them at $50 each. What's that, like $500,000? $500,000. Apparently it cost them more than $500,000 to put that thing together that they could sell. And I was like, that seems weird. And I was saying, like, I put it to him that, like, I thought what was happening is that because, you know, Summit Gupta's involved, who is one of the co-founders, is also someone who runs a crypto exchange. I kind of got the impression that what they're trying to do is giving away NFTs, because they gave away like a badge, a claw badge, for everyone who signed up at the beginning, regardless whether you were applying to pay or anything like that. And then doing the NFTs, I think what they were doing was saying, hey, look, like, we've got this game where everybody who's playing the game has already got an NFT. They've already got an NFT wallet because we've made one for them. Hey, look, we've got like 500,000 people. I can't remember. They said there was like an insane number of people, 100,000 people or something. 100,000 people have applied, and that means all of them have an NFT wallet already. And it's like, if you're then going to crypto investors and people who want to invest in crypto games and crypto projects, and you can say to them, hey, look at our game, we've already got a load, like tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of people who have a crypto wallet and are interested in crypto and gaming, like, you're going to get more investment from them. So that's kind of what I thought they were doing, is just trying to essentially manipulate people into having an NFT wallet, into having a crypto wallet. And yeah, like, I mean, they were arguing like, no, it's absolutely all going to be optional. If you don't want to engage with the crypto, it's not going to affect the game at all. And, you know, that's kind of where we left it. Then I just sort of stopped engaging in that Discord and engaging with them, basically. And then when the first Snapshot came out, because I did have the Founders Pass from doing the ARG, I made a video about it, and you can go back and watch that first video. I think, to be honest, my video about that first Snapshot was probably one of the most fair videos. I was very even-handed. I didn't criticize it too much. I talked about a lot of the good things in it, and, you know, some of the things that I didn't think looked so great. I think that was a very kind of neutral thing, considering like that history that I just explained. But this one, I'm kind of a bit more disappointed. Like, I think this, like, in the last one, it's like one of the cool things was, oh, the gun looked kind of cool. I mean, in this, that gun does not look cool. In this, I don't really understand what they're trying to show off here. Like, what's the good thing they're trying to show? I don't really understand. But yeah, so just all of that really was me trying to answer that question from Organic Vibes when you're saying, well, not question, but when you're saying that's why my view on what they've released has felt biased, and it's noted. Like, that's all my bias. I've got all my cards on the table. I am not hiding anything else. So that's my sort of perspective on this project, I guess. And it's essentially come down to my general feeling about Midnight Society and Project Deadrop is that I don't test them. I don't trust them. I personally don't think they're like, they have this incredible AAA studio. I think they are a group of people who have, some of them have worked on some very cool games. There's a lot of environment artists from Halo Infinite, which some of you will already know my thoughts on the... Oh, there's no animation for that guy firing the gun. He's just got his hands on his side. Yeah, there's a lot of environment artists from Halo Infinite, but there are there's someone who's worked on like Gears of War and stuff like that, which is very cool. But yeah, I don't trust that studio. I don't trust the people who are running it. I don't think Robert Bowling is quite the person that some people seem to think he is. I think that he is maybe over-exaggerating his contribution to the success of some Call of Duty games. Which, you know, he's fairly entitled to. I do find it weird when I've seen people on the Discord and on my YouTube comments saying things like, I of course would just trust anything what Bowling does, you know. Anything he does, I'm definitely going to be interested. It's like, have you actually looked at the games he's worked on between Call of Duty and now? Because it was like, he worked on some like mobile games that were kind of for kids, I think, and then he worked on an Ouya game, and he was saying for ages, you know, Ouya's going to be the future, and he went all in on Ouya, and then that game got cancelled, and obviously that console was an absolute disaster. I've got an Ouya somewhere, I think. I bought it as like a curio for a tenner, like after all of that had happened. But it was like, yeah, like I don't know if he's quite the force of the industry that I think some people seem to think he is. And then like Dr. Disrespect himself, I find his whole thing really, really weird. That like, he is a fictional character created by Guy Beam or Bream or whatever his name is, but he's not going into business as Guy. He's not going into business as the real person he is. He's going into this business as his character, which I find like that really, really odd, because then he can say things like, oh, well, I can take a screenshot of my game right now and it looks way better than anything Modern Warfare 2's released. And then people can't criticize that because people will say, oh, well, it's just him, it's just his character, like that's just what he's like. And then, but then like, well then are you meant to take anything he says seriously? Are you meant to take any of his promises about the game seriously, or anything that he tries to big up seriously? Because it feels like people do a lot. He's just saying it in character. It's literally like if Homer Simpson started a video game company. You wouldn't be like, oh, well, Homer Simpson said that this game's going to be the best game ever, so it must be true. That would just feel super odd. So yeah, I find the whole Dr. Disrespect involvement thing very, very strange. I sort of get the impression he's more of like a face for the company. You know, and maybe, you know, what do you call it, like an advisor, consultant on it, rather than being heavily involved in the development, but I've got no idea. I did definitely get that sense because when I was talking to Bowling and Nikolai, that they had to go through Dr. Disrespect's manager to speak to him rather than, you know, just sending him a message on Discord, because he is on the Discord. That all felt very weird to me. But anyway, I think we're kind of done here. I don't think there's much else to say about this game. Hopefully you've enjoyed this look at it. I mean, I know we've been going on it for an hour. I might make a slightly more sort of short form thing with my thoughts on it at some point. But if you have liked it, don't forget to leave a like on the stream. Subscribe if you want to see more Call of Duty stuff. I probably will do videos like this each time they release a snapshot, or at least maybe for the next couple. But there's not going to be a huge amount of Deadrop content on my channel, I think, for a while. I'd more do Call of Duty stuff. So if you want to see that, make sure you subscribe, turn your notifications on. But thank you very much for watching, and goodbye.